Hey guys, Sabertooth here, back again with another review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Sabertooth as he appears in the Age of Apocalypse storyline, meaning he's of course a part of the Colossus Build-A-Figure wave. I took a look at Iceman the other day. This is the second one I've got from the wave in hand. I'm still waiting on my Shadowcat and Legion to come in. Not sure if I mentioned that I picked them up in the Iceman video that I posted the other day or not, but now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Gee, wrong Toyland. But before we get into the meat and taters of this review, we of course need to go over the Build-A-Figure part, which is the noggin. Very good old Colossus, sporting a do-rag and some war paint, corpse paint. I don't know, you decide. Now, as far as these tassels go, they're supposed to move. They do not on mine. And I'm not going to monkey this up trying to prove a point. So, you know, buyer beware. Maybe heat this port up before you go plugging stuff into it. But we used a little bit of soap. When I say we, I mean me and the old man. We used a little soap, ported it in there. It does twist, but it has a lot of resistance. So I would just advise you either glue this in or you just plug it in and don't mess with it. Because that is very, very gummy plastic. It's very thin. So, you know, chances are you're just going to shear it off. And, of course, now I have the head to go with the right arm, which we got from Iceman. So, Colossus is coming together. I don't know if he'll be together in time for my top 10 Legends of the Year video. He's definitely a cool-looking Build-A-Figure, but yeah, between him and Armadillo, I don't know who's going to get done first. Armadillo is a part away, but I can't find the figure for it. Colossus is a few parts away, which I can find, but I don't really have the funds for it right now. So I don't know what I'll have necessarily on my top 10 Legends of the Year list, but hopefully we'll see some more additions to that as time progresses. I'm not sure if I'll post that this weekend. One thing's for sure, though, I do believe I will be posting my top 10 multiverse and top 10 figures overall for the year. And the reason I'm doing that is no Legends got on there, unfortunately. It's just Legends kind of struggled this past year, being quite honest. So stay tuned tomorrow. I'll post my top 10 multiverse. And then Sunday, it'll either be top 10 Legends or top 10 figures in general. Most likely figures in general, because again, no Legends on that video, or in that list, unfortunately. But getting back to Sabertooth, he does come with an alternate head sculpt, which is a little bit more on the feral side, and the one I'm probably going to be using. But to save time, I'm not going to swap heads out. I'll just keep him with his shit-eating grin there. But this is the more pissed-off looking head sculpt, which I prefer. I like the blank eyes and the snarling teeth there. And the one thing with him, he's got articulated ponytails, so you can rotate these around. Look really cool. Kind of windswept poses, so that's nice. A lot of the times they just shove the ponytail through the plastic or the cellophane tray, and you try like hell not to break the damn thing off trying to get it out the package. So it's nice that they A, packaged them separate so you can put them on yourself, and B, they are articulated, so that's nice. Unlike the Colossus headband piece, which is rotate at your own risk. But on top of that, he does come with two grip hands, which he's packaged with, but I swapped him out because, like the gold and black Spider-Man I took a look at before Christmas, he doesn't come with anything to grip in the package. That said, these actually have a purpose, unlike that freaking Spider-Man, who should just come with fist hands. If you're not going to give him anything for the grip hands, just give him fists. I'm sure he could use some fists to punch whoever he's intended to punch, but this guy is intended to go with good old Wild Child from the Sugar Man wave, which I did actually review all of, I think in 1 week too. Gotta pat myself on the back for that. I usually don't do that anymore. That said, I do not have Wild Child handy. He is deep in my X-Men shelf somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where. But at some point, I will break them out, and I will probably showcase the entire Age of Apocalypse collection on a video, because I never did an overview for the Sugar Man wave, because I did that video, or that wave before I started doing the overviews, so maybe I'll go back and do an overview of that, or just the whole line, because I think we are due to receive another wave of Age of Apocalypse figures, because there are plenty of characters we do not have, like Gambit, or Storm, or the Dark Nemesis, your boy's favorite, aka Holocaust, but they changed the name because that's a little bit savage. But getting into Sabertooth, again, I do appreciate the grip hands. You know, they have a purpose, but the hinge is also wrong. Sometimes you just can't please everybody. But at any rate, this figure is awesome. Don't get it twisted. Your boy loves this figure. It's definitely a contender for one of the top 10 Legends of the Year, just based off the size. I love the size. He's a big, chunky boy, and I like big, chunky boys. That came out wrong. Either way, I like the size of this figure. I like the mass, the half the bulk, the weight. You're getting a lot for your money here. And it's, I think, a new sculpt on top of that. Not pinless, but the pins are very, very small in here and up here. So I don't mind that too much. That said, though, he is still pretty well articulated, even though he does have his shortcomings. The head sits pretty well. I don't think it's too high. But you do get plenty of range out of that. Does rotate, does tilt, does look up and down. You can look up and down a little bit just on the ball peg itself. I already mentioned this before. The ponytail rotates around. This piece, I think, is glued in. I think. No, it's not. It's pegged in. Not sure why it's not glued in. But I may need to heat warp this so it sits more flush on the torso here. Because right now it really doesn't. Kind of sticks up a bit. Could have used another port in the front here to peg this into, but that's not that big a deal. A little bit of heat will fix that. Heat and maybe some super glue on the back there. Shoulders go out to the side. Ooh, that's a bit hindered. Maybe if you do it this way. The shoulders are pretty hindered. Okay, that's not ideal. Alright, like that. And luckily it doesn't chew them up. That's good. They're just kind of stiff, I think. They're not getting chewed up when you move them up like that. Sometimes on these, the shoulders get a little bit gnarled up when you try and hinge them out. But this guy, that does not appear to be the case. What about the other? The other side is a little bit better. So I think the hinge is just a little stiff. That's what she said. He does have a full rotation there. He does have a bicep swivel. Single joint at the elbow. Which gives you enough, I think. This side gives you a little more. You get a second notch there. Would have been nice if he had some double joints, but I get it. He's a bulky guy. Can't have everything. And a new body, no less. Nothing in the gauntlet there, but his hands do swivel and hinge appropriately in the fists. Ab crunch works fine. Works really well. Crunches forward, crunches back. No problems there. Waist swivel, a little hindered, but it does work. The belt is soft enough and we'll get out the way. Hips, kick out, and not very far, but he's a big guy, so I'll let it slide. We'll bypass that, as they say. He does get a good forward kick, though. Nice 90 degree there. Just about, anyways. He's got a thigh cut. Works fine. Double jointed knee. Nice and tight on this guy. I like that. You guys know me. I'm always a stickler when it comes to leg joints. Nothing in the boot, surprisingly, but I don't think he really needs it. He's got a good enough ankle hinge and rocker that's nice and forward facing to where he doesn't really need a boot swivel to kind of line that up. So that's cool. Not a lot of articulation, really, but he is a bigger guy and he is a new body, so I'm looking forward to seeing what else they could do with this body. I'd like to see a Sabertooth or even a Venom on this body. Obviously, you got to swap the arms out, make some new arms and new lower legs. But I think it could be done. I think that'd be really cool. And something to look forward to, maybe. Because I have a hard time believing that this is the only time we're going to see this body utilized. Especially with this back port here. I think they could even do a attachable little main piece for a classic Sabertooth. Just with that little port alone. But with that being said, it's pretty much Sabertooth in a nutshell. Really dig him. He's cool. I love the facial expressions on both head sculpts, but I think I'm going to swap the angry one on before we get to final thoughts, just because that's my preferred look for good old Victor Creed here. But with that being said, let's take a look at some comparisons. First up, here is good old Victor Creed next to the only other figure I've taken a look at from this wave thus far. That is, of course, going to be none other than Mr. Bobby Drake, aka Iceman. And as you can see, he absolutely towers over most, if not all, other Marvel Legends figures at this price point. Shy of being a deluxe figure, I don't know if you can get any bigger than this. I'm actually curious how big he is next to the, the 80th anniversary Colossus, or the Colossus that was reused to make the Death's Head figure many years ago now. Curious if he's any bigger than them. I have a feeling they might actually be just a smidge taller, but one figure or base body that is not a smidge taller is the Omega Red body, which is utilized by this PulseCon Venom here, which I know is a body that a lot of people want to see Sabertooth utilized on, not only because of the butterfly joints, but because of the double jointed elbows, which this guy, again, does not have. That doesn't really bug me personally, but I can see why a lot of people do prefer the double jointed elbows to the single joints to get more range. I mean, that kind of goes without saying, but that said, I'm pretty sure we're going to see that at some point in the near to distant future anyways, on possibly a retro card. I know the Super Retro Classic Sabertooth that's coming out in the Bonebreaker wave is on the Grim Reaper body, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm okay with. That version of Sabertooth's not supposed to be large and in charge, so it makes sense, but I do hope we see one on this Omega Red body, or even this Age of Apocalypse Sabertooth body, if it's, reworked a little bit. He does have a lot more spam decks as opposed to exposed hairy arms going on, if you know what I'm saying. And last but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legions, Brother Mandibulus, and the MK11 Spawn, who, unlike usual, does not tower over everyone because this Sabertooth absolutely dwarfs him. Well, dwarfs in the sense that he's about a head taller than him, and that's not very common if you are an avid viewer of this channel. But with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and I gotta be honest when I'm saying this, that Victor Creed here is currently competing for Figure of the Wave alongside good old Bobby Drake, aka Iceman. I really... Did I say really? Well, I'm going to say it again. Really love this figure. I love the size. I don't mind that he's a little bit hindered as far as the articulation goes. He is a bulkier guy. And I'm looking forward to what Hasbro has to offer as far as Sabertooth goes in the near to distant future. I know we're getting a Super Retro Classic one in the Bonebreaker wave, but I am looking forward to seeing one maybe on the Omega Red body, like the Venom I compared this guy to earlier in the video. So, with that being said, if you are at all a fan of the Age of Apocalypse story arc, or you just want a big chunky figure for your money, then look no further than this guy right here. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you are so inclined, please hit that notification bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one, because we got to show that algorithm who's boss, right? And if you haven't already, hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.